lot of the times with athletes, because I've been there myself, like, should I or should I not? And then anytime you want to like get more information on it, it's just yes or no, and it's really cut and dry. And I think it's one of those topics, personal experience, personal opinion. It's not really cut and dry, not really black and white. I want to talk about the Randy Sullivan piece. That, to me, I'll include a clip he did below here as well. That, to me, makes complete sense, because I look at like my development and my career, and the best that I've ever been and the healthiest that I've ever been and the best that I've been able to recover from outing to outing has been when I've been just completely athletic. And I've talked a lot about athletic arm path, just being athletic as a whole. And then the worst that I've ever been has been when I've been a quote-unquote PO, pitcher only. And that kind of included, a 120-foot throwing program and keeping my shoulders on line, and I dive into this like all the time. I look at my high school career when I was a shortstop, or when I was hitting, and when I was throwing from like sidearm, and I was getting plays in the 6-hole and doing all this. Like, I mean, granted, I was 18, right? You can make that argument, but I was healthy. Everything felt good. And then when I pitched, an argument could be made for that was the best I've ever been. I was 88th overall that year. So it just makes sense, why we would want to like vary our throws, change our throws, be athletic, and not be robots. With Mike Reinold, I'm not trying in any particular way to, say he's wrong or say Andrews is wrong or all of these things. That is not my intent of making and creating this piece. I had Reinold on the podcast, which I will also link somewhere in here. And I encourage you to check that podcast episode out, because it really makes sense on what that study showed, and it kind of piggybacks off my particular beliefs as well. It really highlights authentic mechanics. I'll include a clip of Dr. Josh Heenan talking about like authentic mechanics and how you can identify that, and how it kind of correlates to stuff you see in the gym, which is a really good little excerpt from the last podcast that him, me, and Alan Jager did, and I think it'll really like click with you. It'll make a lot of sense. I don't want to paraphrase any of the things that the other individuals are saying. Like I said, I had podcasts with Mike Reinold who talked a lot about that. I would just encourage you to go listen to that and hear it from the man himself. Anytime we talk about weighted baseballs or weighted balls, like, understand that it's another tool. We have all of these different modalities, and we have all of these different tools within the industry to improve and to get better. And I think sometimes when we look at like weighted balls, they can be, for some reason, they aren't looked at like as a tool. I think some people look at them as like the end all be all to velocity development. And then some people just look at them like, I can't touch that at all. And I think if you guys have been following me for a while now and seen a lot of the stuff that I post and talk about, it's it's about feedback, personal feedback, and notice how like everyone's feedback is going to be different, right? So like I talk about the Velo Pro, I talk about Indian clubs, I talk about throwing clubs, I talk about connection balls, I talk about all of these like different tools. And the reason why I talk about them, because I'm passionate about it, because the feedback that I've gotten from these specific tools have been very, very good. But that's not always going to be the case for every player. So when I talk about weighted balls, I kind of think about the same exact thing. Like, is it a good tool for you? Are you getting good feedback? And are you utilizing it correctly? Because I think, when we look at it, and I believe the Reinold podcast, we talked about this as well. We talked about how like certain individuals, they shouldn't use them because they haven't owned external rotation, or they haven't owned like certain movement capacity, and that's where you start seeing the injuries occur. And you increase the load again. That'll something that we talk about below with authentic mechanics, but it goes hand in hand with that stuff, man. It's a really good tool for your toolbox, but you have to look at the big picture and understand, like, am I somebody that should be utilizing this, or should I not? Should I actually own my mechanics first? So hopefully the information I could provide, better equips you for your development. And, I really encourage you guys to check out all the other links that I'm posting in this piece. So hope you guys enjoy. Best of luck to all y'all.